Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Salakaya Chakkhurunimilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sopadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanam Cha Sirupam Sagrajatam Sagana Siragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Laitam Sri Visakham Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kurpa Sindhuveva Cha Patitanam Pavanabhya Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pasat Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you, welcome. Today is very, very important verses because we are going to cover the entire Bhagavad-gītā, 18th chapter, the thematic essence of Bhagavad-gītā. Because Bhagavad-gītā has got 700 verses, and normally devotees, they begins, but in between they do not understand, they do not digest the essence of this Bhagavad-gītā. They abruptly stop there, they pause there. In this way they do not go through every flow. Because of lack of understanding the flow of Bhagavad-gītā, they could not carry forward. Most of the devotee, it is rampantly seen. So we will go through the thematic essence of Bhagavad-gītā and the flow. Actually, Prabhupada said that Bhagavad-gītā should be studied in a very flow, cohesive way. So Prabhupada said that Gita, one must study the Bhagavad-gītā and understand flow of philosophy, not in isolation. It's a cohesive unit, fits together. So if you try to understand in a very randomly pick up here and there, it's very difficult to. Therefore, even Prabhupada, he himself gave the lecture on Bhagavad-gītā very cohesively, very systematically, chronologically from the chapter 1 to chapter 18. So in this way, we can understand the flow of the philosophy very easily. So as we know that Bhagavad-gītā is a very, very profound, very inspiring text, very poignant, very powerful. And not only that, it is a very divine conversation between man and God, set forth in a war of ancient battle that answers the weightiest of questions with uncommon ease and clarity. Therefore, the Bhagavad-gītā is the essence of all doctrine, essence of all philosophy, king of education, secret of everything. Kṛṣṇa himself declared that it's a crown jewel of spiritual wisdom. And it is meant to deliver the mankind from the nescience of material existence. It is not only, addressed to Arjuna, who was having a problem, ethical problem, existential problem in fighting in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It is meant for everybody, because every one of us, somehow or other, we are in a problem. We are in a very awkward position due to our material existence. We are existing in a non-existential atmosphere. There is existential dilemma, dissension, disharmony. As a result, we are suffering birth after birth after birth. So it is entitlement for the end. This Bhagavad-gītā wisdom is very, very important, very paramount important for those interested students who wants to address the awkward position of life and get the solution for that, get the solution of it. Therefore, Bhagavad-gītā is very, very important wisdom to be learned, and not only that, to be applied also. Because at present, we are in a very precarious situation. Our consciousness is bodily consciousness. Just like in the beginning of Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna did not want to fight because he was so much related with his family, friends, and so on and so forth. It was bodily conception of life. But after understanding Bhagavad-gītā, now he said that kariṣye vacanaṁ tava. Yes, I shall do as you desire, Kṛṣṇa. That is Kṛṣṇa consciousness. So there is a transformation from bodily conception or bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness or Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because without perfect knowledge, nobody can act perfectly. Nobody can be perfect. Therefore, Arjuna, first of all, he wanted to give priority to get this knowledge, this wisdom, then apply it, and then disseminate it or preach to others. Our mission is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mission. Jare dekha tare kaha Kṛṣṇa upadesh. Our is preaching motion. Prabhupada's mood is preaching mode. First of all, we understand, in order to preach others, first of all, we have to understand the knowledge. First thing in Kṛṣṇa consciousness is knowledge. After we receive this knowledge, assimilate that knowledge, we have to apply or practice ourselves. Apani achare Prabhu karile sikha. So first of all, you have to imbibe this knowledge, assimilate this knowledge, then practice. And we have to disseminate, propagate this message to others and help others and bring this Gita wisdom to others. That is the method of understanding Bhagavad-gītā. That is the spiritual success, the method of spiritual success. Therefore, everybody must read Bhagavad-gītā, must understand Bhagavad-gītā. Howsoever life may be crammed with responsibilities, howsoever life may be in a very pressing situation, professional and personal, but one should not satisfy the demand of this material things at the expense of understanding Bhagavad-gītā. Everything can be wait, but Bhagavad-gītā wisdom must be given priority. Just like Arjuna. Arjuna was in a very precarious situation. He's undergoing a very, existential disharmony, ethical problem, but still he gave the urgency of understanding Bhagavad-gītā over anything. The Gita setting at the war field itself reflects the urgency of assimilating this knowledge and apply it and disseminate it to others. That is the essence of all Bhagavad-gītā. So we start with the thematic essence of Bhagavad-gītā. So Bhagavad-gītā has been categorized, has got 18 chapters. The first chapter predominantly the Karma Yoga has been mentioned, has been more described. Therefore, it is called Karma Yoga. In the middle chapter, it is called Bhakti Yoga because predominantly Bhakti has been more emphasized or described by Kṛṣṇa, stated by Kṛṣṇa. And last 6 chapters from 13 to 18, it is called Jnana Yoga because the knowledge has been more described there. So we'll start with this Bhagavad-gītā, first chapter. Bhagavad-gītā, every spiritual journey starts with a doubt. Because at present moment, we have been, the society, our friend, our colleagues, our media has painted the perfect picture of success. That is called material achievement. And we subscribe to that milestone of success. But one point of time we question, is there really satisfying my demand? Is there really giving me happiness? Is there any deeper purpose of life? The same way Arjuna was in doubt. Now he is going to fight a very ancient historical battle. Is it ought to fight or not? That is the opening of essence of chapter 1. So we will start with chapter 1. Chapter 1 called Visada Yoga, or observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. It is also called Visada Yoga because lamentation. In chapter 1 opens with this Dhritarashtra inquiries to Sanjaya, because Dhritarashtra was blind by birth. So he cannot vision these activities of the war, live activities of the war. So, but Sanjay, his secretary, was endowed with a divine eyes, special eyes by the Vasudev, his spiritual master, to envision these activities of the war. So staying at the Hastinapur, which is now Delhi, he was giving a live commentary to his king, Dhritarashtra, blind king Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra is begin with asking the chapter 1 has been divided into different themes. Basically, different themes are there in chapter 1. So chapter 1, Bhagavad-gītā starts with the Dhritarashtra inquiry, Dharma khetre Kurukhetre samaveta jujussava mamakaha pandava chaiva kim akrupa sanjay. So it is starting with that my son and son of Pandu, O Sanjay, after my son and son of Pandu assembled on the pilgrimage at Kurukshetra desiring to fight, what did they do? So this Bhagavad-gītā chapter 1 opens with the question of Dhritarashtra, that they assembled Panduputra and my Putra. What is their intention? What did they do? And Sanjay is answering this question, that the preparation of war going on, how Dhritarashtra, how the Yudhishthir, after seeing this, how Yudhishthir, after seeing these two armies, he estimates the strength of the army between Pandava's army and Kaurava's army. There is the assessment of the strength of the army, and Duryodhana concludes that our army is very, very strong and unlimited, because the Bhishma and Drona, the invincible fighter, is there. After that, there was a blowing of the consuls from both the side. Panchajanyam Hushikesha Deva Dattas Dhananjaya Pondrududmu Mahasanka. So blowing up consuls, that blowing up consul itself reflects the sign of victory for the Pandavas, because wherever there is a Kṛṣna is there, Jesam Pakke Janardhana. Jayatum Panduputranam Jesam Pakke Janardhana. In the first chapter, say after this war is going on, about to start, and consul has been blown. So what happened? The Arjuna is in a very precarious situation. Arjuna wanted to know that whosoever, who all are going to fight with me, let me see them. Let me see who are going to fight with me. So he asked Kṛṣna that Senar Ubhamadere Rathastapai Mayachita, please draw the chariot. Please draw the chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. When things are going on, the war is about to start, the blow of the consul has been has been blown. Now Arjuna is very curious to see the fighters who have come, assembled to fight So he asked the Kṛṣna, Senar Ubhayamadre, please draw the chariot in between. So Lord Kṛṣna draw the chariot, and after that Lord Arjuna see that Tatra Paschastitan Partha. So here Tatra Pathan Partha Pitri Matha Pitama Acharyam Matula Bhatrin Putran Pautram Sakhim Tatha Sosuran Sruddham Chaiva Senar Ubharapi. So here Arjuna could see that within this army there are so many parties. His father, grandfather, there are 10 kind of relatives. Father, grandfather, teacher, material uncle, brother, son, grandson, friends, all his father-in-law, well-wisher, everybody was there. So he was so much overwhelmed, he could not expect that. Immediately he was overwhelmed by compassion for his relative, for his kith and kins. Then when he saw that, immediately he spoke that Tam Samaksha Kaunteya Sarvan Bandhun Avastitan Krupaya, by simply Krupaya Parayabhistam. He was inflicted by the Kurpa. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw different kind of relative, he became overwhelmed with compassion. Because it was not that he was fighting with his enemy, but his own relatives. And being a Vaishnava, he was very compassionate. After being compassionate, he do not want to fight, giving so many reasons not to fight. And he given the many 5 reasons not to fight. He told that Dustamam Sojana Kṛṣna Jujusam Samupastitam Siddhanti Mamagatrani Mukham Cha Parishushati. My dear Kṛṣna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel my limbs of the body quivering, my mouth drying up, my whole body is trembling. All kind of symptoms is manifested in Arjuna's body. He was so much overwhelmed with compassion that the bodily symptoms has been exhibited. And Arjuna's, this is a turning point, and Arjuna reasons not to fight. Then he told the Lord that I will not fight because there is nothing, Sanjay said, having thus said on the battlefield, Kṛṣna said, bow and arrow set down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. He told, I will not fight because of compassion for the relative. And he also argued a lot of things. He told that if I kill all my relatives, with whom I can enjoy all my opulences, if I win also the kingdom, I should share my opulences with my relatives, but my relatives will not be there, will not be alive. How can I enjoy it? Also, he thought that by killing own relatives, it is a transgression of Kula Dharma. It is like fearful of sinful reaction of killing. Although they were wrong, they have absorbed, they did many mistakes, they did many things against many wrong things, injustice against the Pandavas. But still Arjuna was very compassionate. He told that no, if we kill them, we will incur the sins because they were so much respectable elder, our relatives. And also he told there is a Kula Dharma, the destruction of family tradition. If I kill them, there is a destruction of the family tradition. All this society will be destroyed. All the community, the womanhood will be, all the senior members of the family will be died. There will be nobody to train the younger generation. As a result, the womanhood will be polluted and exploited by the unscrupulous person. In this way, all development of society, community will be stopped. And entire tradition, entire dynasty will be falling down, go to hell. So in this way, there are so many reasons Arjuna put forward not to fight. And he finally cast aside his bow and arrow. Evam uktanu Arjuna sankhya ratopasta upavista visrijasya saram shapam soka samigna manasa. So Arjuna, having this spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrow, sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. This is the first chapter where Arjuna put into the lamentation, aggrieved. We should learn from the first chapter. When a person is so much bodily conception, then he will be in problem, he will be in lamentation. Our problem in this material world that everybody is identified with body and bodily paraphernalia, is my relative, my community, my community, my country. In this way, we have entangled in this material world. So Arjuna here, although he is an eternal associate of the Lord, and there is no question of he will be illusion, but he is representing us, he is representing the conditioned soul, how we have been identified with the body. How we are so much illusion. We are thinking that I am this body, this is my house, my wife, my children, my community, my society, my country, so on and so forth. In this way, we are in illusion. As a result of this, we are suffering in this material world since time memorial. Jasyatma buddhi kunapetri dhatuke. We are identified by the body. That is the lesson we should learn from the chapter 1. And chapter 2, in the beginning of the chapter 2, we begin with the contents of Gita Samraj. So after seeing the law, after seeing Arjuna, his dearest friend, Kṛṣṇa was very much, surprised that how I am there and Arjuna was such a situation. How he can be overwhelmed, overcome, or overpowered by the illusion to so much so that he is crying. Literally crying. He's such a great fighter, but he does not have a willpower to fight. He has so much illusion. So Kṛṣṇa was, as soon as he saw that Arjuna was in very depressing situations, in second chapter, Kṛṣṇa was started with Arjuna chastising Arjuna that where these impurities come from you. That does not deserve or does not behave a Kshatriya like you. A Kshatriyas are not like this. You have a Swadharma as a Kshatriya. You are meant to fight. That is your duty, prescribed duty. That is a progressive path. Because the Aryans mean there is a progressive path. Aryans, they know the spiritual value of life. So they progress towards them. But without fighting and overwhelmed by this kind of compassion, this kind of misdirected compassion, Kṛṣṇa was chastising this compassion is not actually correct. And Prabhupada has given example, supposing a person is drowning, and if you are compassion and save his shirt, what is the value of that? It is useless. Similarly, to save a body is not important. To save a soul is important. So Arjuna's compassion for his bodily relationship is not just. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa chastised to an extent of telling him, Kaivalyam, you are important. You are important. You have not that willpower. So Arjuna was more and more confused. He has a further doubt whether I am doing right or wrong. Because there is a conflict between his Kula Dharma and Kshatriya Dharma. So Kṛṣṇa was inducing him, you have a Kshatriya, why you are thinking of Kula Dharma? Your Kshatriya Dharma means you have to fight. This is the progressive path. You should not be like important. You are so famous as a Kshatriya. You have fought so many wars, religious war. But now people think that you are very, very coward. So in this way, Arjuna was a bit of confused what to do, what not to do, whether to fight or not. So he accepted Kṛṣṇa as a spiritual master. That is very important because the fundamental step of spiritual knowledge, fundamental step of spiritual life, to accept a spiritual master. Without spiritual master, there is no question of spiritual life. Because we are such ignorant, we do not know what to do and what not to do. Shastra say that we have been so much engaged, we have been so much in time memorial, we have been so much engaged in Maya, we do not know. Entrapped in Maya, we do not know what is our right path. Here it is said that in Bhagavatam, that because a person who has been covered by ignorance since time memorial is not capable of effecting his own self-realization, there must be some other personality who is in factual knowledge of the absolute truth, can impart this knowledge to him. So we cannot ourselves release from the bondage. Only a person who is already a self-realized, he can impart the knowledge and enlighten us. So here the Kṛṣṇa is the supreme spiritual master, Jagat Guru. So here Arjuna did a very important, very nice thing, very, very instructive. Very Arjuna's action is very, very exemplary, that he accepted Kṛṣṇa as spiritual master. Somebody may question Prabhupada, say that Kṛṣṇa is not there. How can a conditioned soul accept Kṛṣṇa as spiritual master? But Kṛṣṇa is there. His representative are there. Kṛṣṇa says that sometimes he comes, sometimes his representative comes. Acharyas are his representative. And the Kṛṣṇa's instruction is there. And we can, Kṛṣṇa instruction, same instruction is there, whatever given to Arjuna. And we can receive through his representative. In this way, we can make the life successful. We can enlighten ourselves. Therefore, the fundamental step is to accept the spiritual master. As soon as Arjuna accepts the spiritual master, then Kṛṣṇa immediately chastise him that you are a fool. You do not know, you are speaking big thing, but you do not know actually what is real life. So there is a chastisement from the Kṛṣṇa that asuchan anvasuchantam pragya bhadascha bhasa se gatasuna gatasuna anusochanti pandita. The intelligent people, they do not lament for death and living. So now Kṛṣṇa is trying to impart the knowledge, the first knowledge, the fundamental knowledge. What is our identity? Who am I? There is a fundamental identity, functional identity. Arjuna was thinking that functional identity as a Kshatriya, as a Kuru dynasty, belong to Kuru dynasty. These are functional, but fundamental identity is our constitutional identity. That is the spirit soul. So Kṛṣṇa, from chapter 2, 11 to 30, he has been speaking about the analytical study of material body and spirit soul, Sankhya Yoga. So Kṛṣṇa said, Dehinam, that you have existed before, I have existed, and all this king also existed. Because we are not this body, we are the soul. Destruction of body is not the end, is not the full stop, it is a comma. Again we get the another body, according to our karma. Dehinam swin jatha dehi komaram jauvanam cha tatha dehantara prapti vidhiras tatra namujate. Those who are sober, they know the fact that there is a tatha dehantara prapti. We are not this body, we are the proprietor of the body. Dehi means proprietor of the body. Body is material. It has come, it is going to expire. But the soul will continue to exist. Tatha dehantara prapti. Just like body has moving, changing from the toddler to child, to youth, to old age, but the person is the same. At the time of death, we change our body according to karma. So this analytical study of spirit, soul, and body, given by so many ways, Kṛṣṇa is explaining to Arjuna that na jayate muryate bakadachin nahanyate hanyamane sarira. So Kṛṣṇa is speaking that very nice philosophy, so many verses, that how this difference between body and soul. Na jayate muryate bakadachin nayam bhutta bhavittavanu na bhuya ajonitya sasastayam purana na hanyate hanyamane sarira. For the soul there is never but, not dead, nor having once been does. once been, does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So in this way, Kṛṣṇa is speaking about this Sankhya Yoga. After the Sankhya Yoga, Kṛṣṇa was speaking about as a Kshatriya, you should do the Sakama Karma Yoga. What is called Sakama Karma Yoga? Sakama Karma Yoga means as a Kshatriya, if you work as your prescribed duty, if you die also you go to heaven. If you win, you also enjoy the kingdom. It's a win-win situation. Do for Sakama Karma Yoga. Sakama means some enjoyment, your prescribed duty, enjoyment. In this way, you go to progressive path. So after that, Kṛṣṇa say, this is Sakama Karma Yoga also a reactive factor. Because even after you go to heavenly planets, you will come down when your pious activities has been exhausted. So he has given that you do something which work with detachment, Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means Niskama Karma Yoga. You do the Karma Yoga without any attachment. So Kṛṣṇa is very nicely speaking these beautiful verses that you do the Buddhi Yoga, that is the solution of not engagement from this material body. After giving the solution, after giving the information that we are not this body, we are the soul, now Kṛṣṇa is speaking that how to get out from the soul. So he is now prescribing you do the Buddhi Yoga. From Buddhi Yoga, you will not be encode any sin. You can free from this engagement of the body. These beautiful verses. Perform your duty, equipoise, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity called yoga. दुरेन ही अवरम कर्म बुद्धि योगा धनंजय बुद्धौ शरणम अविंच कृपण फलहेतव. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distance by devotional service. In that consciousness, surrender unto Lord. Those who want to enjoy fruit, their work karmita. So they keep abominable activity. So how to get out? That you work without any attachment, without any success and failure. Just surrender unto me. Buddhi Yoga also can be called as Niskama Karma Yoga, is also Bhakti Yoga. All activities surrender to me. So in this way, Lord is explaining the method of Niskama Karma Yoga. Then after that, Kṛṣṇa is speaking to Arjuna that how if you do the Niskama Karma Yoga, those who are doing the Niskama Karma Yoga, what is their symptoms of self-realized person. So the symptoms of self-realized person, Kṛṣṇa is speaking to the Arjuna that self-realized person, how they are so much detached from the they are so much detached from the all kind of success and failure, all kind of attachment. They are completely detached from everything. So they reject all this. They are free from the good and bad reaction. The freedom for the cycle of birth and death. They're indifferent to basic rituals. They realize the relationship with Kṛṣṇa and as a servitor. And finally, they go back to Godhead. So this is the way that how how to recognize a person is situated in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Because when he spoke that you have to become Kṛṣṇa consciousness, or you have to do the Buddhi Yoga or Niskama Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga in order to get out from this engagement of the body, material entanglement. So Arjuna immediately asking question that how to recognize a person situated in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, or Sthita Prajna, spiritually realized person, fixed in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, or acting in Buddhi Yoga. So the symptoms, Kṛṣṇa say that he is very much, indifferent. He is purified by mind, finds satisfaction self alone. He is very much equiposed in happiness and distress. He is not like, sthira buddhi. He is sthira buddhi. He is not like, whenever there is a happiness, he is so much elated. Whenever there is sad, he is very frustrated. No, he is very equiposed, free from any kind of attachment, fear, anger, etc. And unaffected by what is good, evil, firmly engaged in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. These are the person they do not, they do not deviate, or they do not disturb by any kind of situation, any kind of circumstances. These are the symptoms of the those who are in Krishna consciousness, the pragya. So after hearing this, Arjuna thought that, then Krishna is telling about Buddhi Yoga, and Buddhi Yoga is very nice, intelligent. He's thinking that intelligent means, I should not fight, avoid fighting. I will be in knowledge, intelligent, so I should not fight. So therefore he is asking question that you are talking about the Buddhi Yoga is the best, but why you are telling to fight? So the third chapter is beginning with that Arjuna thinks that Buddhi means intelligent. By intelligent you should avoid all the activities. But Krishna still urging him to fight. So he's beginning the question, the contradictory instruction. He's telling that, it's very contradictory instruction. Whether I will be in knowledge, I have to fight, or I do not have to fight. So then Krishna is explaining about how you can do the Niskama Karma Yoga on the platform of knowledge. The third chapter is platform of knowledge, how to do the Krishna consciousness Karma Yoga. So Arjuna question is asking that it is a very contradictory statement. You are telling Buddhi, intelligent is better. Then why you are acting, why you are engaging in acting? So, but Krishna says work with detachment is superior, because when you work with detachment, with knowledge, without knowledge, nobody can work with detachment. With a knowledge of constitutional position as servant of Krishna, unless one is Krishna consciousness, one cannot act with Niskama Karma Yoga also. One cannot detach from this work. You cannot work without detachment, without the success, failure, without the fruits. No. One has to be Krishna consciousness. One has to be knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Supposing if somebody cannot do that, then at least he has to do some sacrifice to come to that position. A person who is already work with detachment, still to set an example, he has to work. To set an example, just like Krishna. Krishna has no work. He do not need to do that. He is already detached from any kind of namam karmani limpanti. Still he engaged in the work. He's coming down because he's the leader. He has to work to set an example. So he's telling Arjuna, even after you are thinking that you are not attached to the outcome of the work, but still to set an example, you must work. Work without detachment. That is the most important, the secret of success. Therefore, the beautiful verses has been given that how with detached to work, how can we get success? So here Krishna say in these beautiful verses, Mai sarvani karmani sannyasa sadhatma cetasa nirsair nirmama bhutva juddhasya vigata dvaraha. Therefore, Arjuna, surrendering all your work unto me with full knowledge of me. Without knowledge of Krishna, how can I detach? How can I surrender to Krishna? Without desire for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, free from lethargy and fight. That is called Karma Yoga. Surrendering all works unto me. So without knowledge, the Karma Yoga will not be. We have to have a transcendental knowledge to perpetuate, to execute this Karma Yoga. Therefore, Krishna is advising Arjuna to, even after you are working on the detached platform, still you have to set an example, you have to do that. Then Arjuna is asking that what is the obstruction on this path of yoga, Karma Yoga? So Krishna said lost only. Lost and anger, the greatest enemy on the path of yoga. Krishna ends with this chapter telling that lost kama, esha krodho, esha rajaguna samudbhava. Lost is the impediment, stumbling block on the path of yoga. So we have to curb this lust and anger, which is a sitting place in our mind, senses, and intelligence. This is our greatest enemy on the path of Karma Yoga and Niskama Karma Yoga. Therefore, Krishna ends the chapter by explaining that this lust and anger, it has to be curbed. Then fourth chapter he is starting with the transcendental knowledge. In third chapter, Krishna is explaining about this lost and all the karma yoga and the path of karma yoga. The fourth chapter, there is a connection between chapter 3 and chapter 4. What is the connection? That is very important to know, the connection between things. Therefore, we have to read the Prabhupada books very thoroughly. The connection is that chapter 3, Krishna explained that lust covers the knowledge, ignorance binds us in the material world, and dutiful detached work karma yoga is the means given to attain the transcendental knowledge. So chapter 3 therefore glorifies the transcendental knowledge. Without karma yoga, without detached work, we cannot gain transcendental knowledge. Therefore Krishna begins with the transcendental knowledge. Because we can elevate from Sakama karma yoga, Krishna start with the Sankhya yoga to know that you are not this body. Then he elevate to Sakama karma yoga, you do for the enjoyment, you fight as a Kshatriya for the enjoyment. And then he again elevate Arjuna to Niskama karma yoga, detached work. Then now he is telling that you do it with transcendental knowledge. Because without transcendental knowledge, your detached work is, you cannot execute detached work. So here transcendental knowledge, Krishna is telling about the first starting with the lineage of this knowledge, history of this knowledge. Krishna tells that transcendental knowledge about Krishna should be received by disciplic succession. Krishna says, I spoke this science, I spoke this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, the Gita wisdom to Son God millions of years. And in this way, this Son God, Vivasan, spoke to his son Ikyoku. In this way, this knowledge has been received in a disciplic succession. Then he reveals then Arjuna is asking the question that, and another things also Krishna say, to receive the transcendental knowledge, one has to be devotee of the Lord. Otherwise, we cannot understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Then Arjuna immediately asked the question that how can I know that you spoke to Sun God? Because you are my contemporary. So now Krishna little deviated from explaining about transcendental knowledge. Now he started explaining about the truth about his form, his birth and activities. He told that I have taken so many births, you have taken so many births, but you don't remember, I remember. Because my body is not material, it's transcendental. Although I am born, I take birth every millennium in my spiritual body. Ajopishan Abhyatma, there's a beautiful verses in this regard. We can see that Krishna spoke these beautiful verses in this regard, that my body, Arjuna, how I spoke to Sun God, because my body is not like your body. Our body means, death means forgetfulness. Again, we get a body, you don't remember. Einstein, so much big scientist, next birth start with A, B, C. Everybody will start with elementary because we forget. That is death. But Krishna body is not material, a spiritual body. Therefore, Krishna say that how I remember, because my body is not like your body, Arjuna. I am not like dying and born again and again. No. Ajopishan abhyatma bhutanam ishwarapishan prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamayaya. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, although I am the Lord of all living entity, by my internal energy I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Therefore, I remember them. You don't remember. And he is now, again he is telling about the purpose of his advent. He told that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sujama. What is my purpose? Whenever there is a decline in religious practice and predominant rise of and descendant of Bharata, a predominant rise of a religion, at that time I descend myself. So Krishna now is telling him about his personal thing, because Arjuna question little bit of deviate Krishna, and he is answering to Arjuna that how I know, because my body is transcendental, I have come to establish the dharma. Whenever there is a problem in dharma, there is a predominant rise of a religion and decline of Krishna consciousness, I advance to establish the religions. Paritranaya sadhuna vinasayate dushkitam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavani juge juge. So Krishna further saying that to deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreant, as well as to re-establish the principal religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So in this way, Krishna was speaking about speaking about his form, his birth, his activities. And Krishna said that if you know this, my truth about my form, how I am, my form is not material, my transcendental, my birth is also transcendental, my activity is also transcendental. If somebody knows this truth, and one who takes shelter of me become purified and attain Krishna. Janma karme chame divyam evam javeti tattva takta deham punar janma naiti mameti solve. So after that, Krishna is telling that there are so many people, after knowing this truth, they have given up vitaraga, krodho, the anger, attachment, material attachment. They have given up by knowing this truth that my purpose is to attain Krishna, to go back to Godhead. Many people have come already. And Krishna says that, Jathamang prapanjante, I am neutral. As you surrender, I award. Whosoever taking shelter of me, accordingly I will award them. According to our desire and our past deeds, so Krishna awards. So understanding Krishna in this way, one can free from all material bondage. Krishna spoke, this is 4:15 verse. You can see that Krishna spoke that if you understand all this, my birth, everything, then you will be free from the bondage. Evam gatva kritam karma purveir api mumukhyavi kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvei purvattaram kritam. So Krishna say that all the liberated soul in ancient time acted with this understanding of my transcendental nature, therefore you should perform your duty following in their footsteps. Very important things. So then Krishna is speaking about understanding the karma on the platform of jnana. One can perform detached action in Krishna service or Krishna consciousness by applying the transcendental knowledge. They are called akarma. Krishna was speaking about karma, akarma, bikarma. Krishna said bikarma is forbidden action, which is against the scriptural. Just like we are acting, we are just a citizenship. If citizenship is acting against the law of land, he is a criminal. Similarly, when a person is acting against the religious script, our scripture is called law of God. Against the scripture, scriptural injunction, that is called adharma, or this is called forbidden action, bikarma. And Krishna says karma means prescribed duty. Prescribed duty means one is Kshatriya, Brahmana, Sudra, Vaishya. So according to their prescribed duty, they work. In this way, they elevated to heavenly planet. Prescribed duty. And Krishna also spoke about the akarma. That is very important. If you act on the platform of transcendental knowledge, or in Krishna consciousness, or for the Krishna service, or in relation to Krishna, that is called akarma. Akarma means non-reactive karma. There is no reaction. Bikarma, which is forbidden action, that is a heavy reaction. The repercussion is very grave and gargantuan. They will go to hell, get punishment, animal life, and so on and so forth. But prescribed duty also a reaction. You may go to up, but after you exhaust, you may go to heavenly planet. Urdham gachasta. Urdham, you can go to the heavenly planet, but after exhaustion of your pious activities, you can again fall down, come back. That also reactive. But akarma is not reactive, because akarma is based on the Krishna consciousness, or the action based on the transcendental knowledge that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, Supreme Master. I am the servant. My constitutional identity or fundamental identity is a servant of Krishna. Kṛṣṇa is the supreme master and I am the servant. Ekelo Ishwaro Kṛṣṇa arasava bhurta. Jivera Swarupoy Nitya Kṛṣṇera dasa. So in this way, that is called akarma. Akarma means without reaction, or on the absolute platform. Kṛṣṇa explained how in this way karma can be seen as a jnana. So then Kṛṣṇa said that how to get this transcendental knowledge. Sacrifices. Everybody is doing sacrifices. So sacrifices will lead to the transcendental knowledge. Fruits of sacrifices means fruit of all kind of Vedic sacrifices is transcendental knowledge. Without transcendental knowledge, we cannot get liberation, ultimately pure devotional service. So the transcendental knowledge is very, very important. It is stated in Bhagavatam also, Lord Shiva says, this transcendental knowledge is very, very important. So Lord Shiva says that out of all achievement, the transcendental knowledge is very, very important. Lord Shiva here says that Shreyasam ya sarvesam jnanam nishrayam param. In this material world, there are different type of achievement, but all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be highest because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, ocean is impossible. Because without transcendental knowledge, one cannot go to liberation and ultimately pure devotional service. One cannot stop this repetition of birth, death, old age. Transcendental knowledge is very, very important. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa, Lord is imparting this knowledge to every one of us, so that by understanding this Bhagavad-gītā wisdom, we can get out from this obnoxious material existence. And Bhagavad-gītā also, Kṛṣṇa says that this transcendental knowledge is what is the fruits of the transcendental. If you know the transcendental knowledge, what will happen? That also has been given. Kṛṣṇa says that to get this transcendental knowledge, you should approach a guru, which is very important. Tadvidi pranipatena paripresena sevaya upadekyanti jnanam jnaninam tatadarshina. So one has to approach a guru in order to know this knowledge. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. We cannot understand ourselves. As we told that this conditioned soul, we have been conditioned. We have been conditioned by so much. We have been, under the illusion, under the ignorance since time memorial, that we cannot ourselves enlighten. We need somebody else. So therefore, we have to approach a spiritual master. Spiritual master is very important. Without spiritual master, there is no spiritual life. Spiritual master means who Diksha, that is called Diksha. The process called Diksha means accepting a spiritual master called Diksha means Dibya Gana Khepayati. They inject the transcendental knowledge. Because spiritual life or transcendental life means transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be received from a bona fide spiritual master, from a disciplic successor, an authentic disciplic successor. And who this quality of this eligibility of that spiritual master, he has seen the truth, not that theoretically. He has seen the truth. He knows. He understands everything. He understands the truth. He has seen the truth. Then he can impart the truth. What is reality? What is the reality? Not superficiality, not the falsity. So in this way, Kṛṣṇa is explaining the fourth chapter of the transcendental knowledge to Arjuna, and he told that by acting on this transcendental knowledge received by disciplic success and destroy the sinful reaction to all work. Therefore, one should do his duty fixed in transcendental knowledge. The last few verses, Kṛṣṇa spoke that. He told that you should do that. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of misery. So here Kṛṣna says that transcendental knowledge, if you are in transcendental knowledge, you can get rid of all kind of, even after you are sinner, still you can cross over this ocean. So he told that therefore the doubt which has arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge, armed with yoga, to stand and fight. He's telling stand and fight. You have to fight now. And all this knowledge, all this doubt you have, like you are asking question that why I should fight, you're trying to avoid fight, but this is due to ignorance only. Then the 5th chapter is starting. In 5th chapter, Kṛṣna is speaking about this karma yoga or action in Kṛṣna consciousness. In beginning of the 5th chapter, Arjuna has a very serious doubt because he was a bit confused. What's going on? Kṛṣna is speaking so many things I don't understand, I don't imbibe, So here Arjuna is asking, oh Kṛṣna, first of all you ask me to renounce work, then again you recommend work with devotion. Now you will kindly tell me definitely which two is more beneficial. So he is in very serious doubt that you told me to renounce work. So first of all, Kṛṣna in Bhagavad chapter 2, he gives the preliminary knowledge to the soul, knowledge of soul and its entanglement in the material body. Then he told Buddhi Yoga is process to get out from this entanglement. In chapter 3, he explains the Karma Yoga that you have to, on the platform of knowledge, no longer he has any other duty to do. In the platform of knowledge means no longer has any duty to. So the knowledge is important. Transcendental knowledge. He was emphasizing transcendental knowledge. From 3rd chapter itself he is explaining, he's more emphasis. Kṛṣna is speaking about transcendental knowledge. And then in chapter 4, he's telling that all kind of sacrifice culminates to the knowledge and glorifying the knowledge. Arjuna is thinking that renunciation in knowledge involves the cessation of all kind of work. He understood knowledge is good. So with knowledge I should renounce. That means I should not work. But he do not know one performing work in devotional service also, that is also renunciation. Arjuna thinking that renunciation and working in devotion, it is incompatible. Working and renunciation, how can it be possible? Work in full knowledge is non-reactive. Therefore, same as inaction. Chapter 5, Arjuna is asking this question, which is better? Kṛṣna answers that this work in devotion is better than renunciation of work. He told that Niskama Karma Yoga is easier than renunciation of work. Kṛṣna says that Arjuna, that both are equal. Both are means for same goal. Either you renounce the work on the platform of knowledge or you work with detachment. Both are good. But if you work with this detachment and Niskama Karma Yoga, that is better because it is easier and superior. Renunciation of work is very difficult. How to perform the Niskama Karma Yoga? Because renounce is very denouncing your wife, renouncing everything. So it's very difficult. So they work with detachment. You work but without any attachment to anything. That is easy and superior. Then he told that how to perform the Niskama Karma Yoga. One performing Niskama Karma Yoga identify neither his body nor the activities that his body performs. That is very important things Kṛṣna spoke in chapter 5, 7 to 12, that how to perform. By detached action, he is free from the reaction of his activities. Very nice, beautiful verses we can see here, 5, 7, and Krishna is speaking out how to do in Niskama Karma Yoga. Yoga Yukta. So Krishna says, one who works in devotion, who is a pure, who control his mind, sense, is dear to everyone. Everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. See, the process of Niskama Karma Yoga. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself, actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening or closing, is always knows that only material senses are engaged with their object, that he is aloof from them. So this is what important of Krishna consciousness. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the result to the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful reaction, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So in this way, Lord is explaining him how to process of Niskama Karma Yoga. And he told that platform of knowledge and knowing the three doers. He is speaking about this, who knows all the bodily activities are automatically carried by the modes of material nature. So then he is focusing on the liberation by focusing on the super soul. He speaks about the liberation. One who in knowledge devotionally fixes his consciousness on the super soul remains materially equipped to attain liberation in near future. Very nice verse Krishna spoke about the work in detachment. Here it is saying that when once an intelligent mind, faith, refugee are all fixed in Supreme, then he becomes fully cleansed of misgiving through complete knowledge that proceeds straight on the path of liberation. The humble says, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision, learned, gentle Brahman, cow, elephant, dog, and dog eater. So this is the symptoms of Krishna consciousness, how they liberate on they get liberation focusing on the super soul. And finally, he was giving a little bit of hints about the liberation through Ashtanga Yoga. Therefore, the sixth chapter, it leads to sixth chapter. He's telling about Ashtanga Yoga, how the Ashtanga Yoga we can liberate through Ashtanga Yoga also. So Krishna here giving a little bit of hint. After he is telling that those who are free from anger, all material desire, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. This is the way we can get the liberation. By Niskama Karma Yoga. Then Krishna is speaking a little about the Ashtanga Yoga. Sorting out all external sense object, keeping the eyes, vision concentrated, in suspending inward, outward breathing within nostril, outward breath within the nostril, thus controlling the mind, senses, intelligence, the transcendentalist aiming at liberation, become free from desire, fear, anger. One who is always in state is certainly liberated. So here also Krishna is speaking out by Ashtanga Yoga also, how one can get liberation. Finally, very important verses, Voktaram Jagyam Tapasam Sarvalokam Maesra Suidam Sarvabhutanam Gaktamam Santi Archati. A person in full conscious of me, knowing me to the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice, austerity, Supreme Lord of all planet, demigod, benefactor, well-wisher of a living entity, attain peace from the pangs of material misery. So here Krishna finally ends the 5th chapter with the beautiful verses by saying that a person in full conscious of me attain the liberation from the pang of material misery. And in the 6th chapter, we will end with 6th chapter, first Karma Yoga. The next session we will go to the Bhakti Yoga. In 6th chapter, Krishna, by discussing our Ashtanga Yoga, establishes an impractical path. Therefore, one should reject this in favor of Bhakti Yoga. See, 6th chapter is all about this Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga was mentioned in chapter 5, text 27, that through the Ashtanga Yoga, one can get liberation. So, but before practicing advanced stage of Ashtanga Yoga, one must become purified by Niskama Karma Yoga. 27, 28 verses, we learn that. and must be full control of mind. One must be completely indifferent to unaffected by all material things, because you cannot do the Ashtanga Yoga if you have desire. If you cannot control your mind and senses, we cannot do yoga, particularly Ashtanga Yoga. They know these are the qualifications. So Krishna say that advance in yoga through detached work. Without detached work, we cannot. Niskama karma yoga, anasrita karma phalam, jo karati, sasanyasa. Real renunciation means anasrita. They are not asrita. They are not taking shelter of the result of the action. That means they are niskama karma yoga. So the Ashtanga yogi has to be engaged in detached work to advance. Otherwise, they cannot do the any Ashtanga yoga. This is a preliminary stage. Then in Ashtanga yoga, there is a yoga ruddha, and yoga ruddha platform means there is a starting of yoga. Yogi has to start with the beginning, that how giving up all the work, niskama karma yoga, then they control his mental control reaches the stage of regarding well-wisher, envious, bias, etc. equally. They are equally see, because they have completely detached. And further stage is also Ashtanga Yoga has been, Kṛṣṇa has been given, that Yogaruddha professional stage, ultimately the vision of the super soul. Yogi means tadgatena antaratma. Yoginam api sarvesam madgata antaratma. Yogi means those who dhana vasishta tadgatena. Dhana vasishta means they are in meditating, in the process of meditating also. Kṛṣṇa has spoken how we can go to the secluded place, how to half close your eyes, how to concentrate on the super soul, to have a vision of the super soul. That is the ultimate perfection of the Ashtanga Yoga. And therefore there is a necessity of controlling the mind. We should not be disturbed. So Kṛṣṇa spoke that control the mind is undoubtedly difficult process, but one has to control the mind. Arjuna was refused to control the mind. Arjuna say very difficult. Chanchalahi manaha Kṛṣṇa. But Kṛṣṇa say there is a necessity of controlling the mind by the practice. Is essential. Otherwise, it's very difficult to concentrate. And it can be practiced by knowledge and detachment. Finally, Arjuna is asking the destination of unsuccessful yogi. Kṛṣṇa say unsuccessful yogi also, they get a chances to born in a very aristocratic family, so that they can continue their process where they'll have left. Finally, Kṛṣṇa is speaking to Arjuna, that topmost yogi. Who is the topmost yogi? So Kṛṣṇa says that the yogis are greater than empiricists, fruitive workers, and ascetic. Of all yogi, those with full faith always think of Kṛṣṇa. They are the best of yogi. So that the final instruction has been given in 6th chapter, 47 verses. That yoginam api sarvesham madgatana antaratma mana. And of all yogi, the one with great faith who always abide in me, think of me within himself, render a transcendental loving service unto me, is the most intimately united with me. Is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So in this way, Lord covers this first 6th chapter of Karma Yoga, which is culminating the point of, as we learned today, that chapter 1, Arjuna was lamented due to this material bodily attachment, which is the cause of our lamentation, cause of our fear, cause of our material bondage. So in order to elevate Arjuna and enlighten Arjuna, Kṛṣṇa is speaking about the Sankhya Yoga. We are not this body, we are the spirit soul. Somehow we are engaged in this material body, entangled in this material body. To come out, he was prescribing Sakama Karma Yoga. Then again, Sakama Karma Yoga means you work as a prescribed duty as a Kshatriya. That is fine. You will go in a progressive path. Then he told about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means work, Niskama Karma Yoga, work without attachment, or work with detachment. So in this way, work with detachment, you will not have any sin. You will not get the reaction of your work. So Arjuna, then he is telling that the symptoms of, Arjuna is asking The person who is working with detachment or who is fixed in this Krishna consciousness, what are the symptoms? So Lord is explaining these symptoms. What are the symptoms? In third chapter, Lord is explaining about the karma yoga, that how one should work with the niskama karma yoga, without detachment, on the platform of jnana and knowledge, so that he will be free from all the action and reaction. Although a person is working with detachment on platform of knowledge, that I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, but still, to set an example, he has to work. And lost anger, they are the stumbling block on the path of niskama karma yoga. In fourth chapter, Lord is explaining about this transcendental knowledge on which the karma should be performed in order to get rid of action and reaction. In fourth chapter, Lord is explaining about all transcendental knowledge, and he is telling all the sacrifice lead to the transcendental knowledge. And with transcendental knowledge, one can easily get out from this material entanglement. In fifth chapter, he is explaining more elaborately whatever he spoke in third chapter, action in Krishna consciousness, karma yoga. He told a person who is working on this niskama karma yoga with proper transcendental knowledge, he will get rid of all kind of reaction. He will eligible for liberation and subsequently pure devotional service at it. He can liberate himself by performing niskama karma yoga. Also, Lord explaining how to do the niskama karma yoga. All this karma has to be surrendering to Kṛṣṇa for the sake of Kṛṣṇa, in the service of the Lord. Then we will not be incurred by any kind of sins. So then he is speaking about this by yoga system, Ashtanga yoga. In last two verses, 5:27-28, niskama karma Ashtanga yoga also we can get liberated. And to elevate to Ashtanga yoga, we have to be perfected in niskama karma yoga, because we should not have a desire. We should not have material desire. We should not have any sense. Mind control should be there. Sense control will be there. Then only we can do the Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga is a physical process of concentration of mind on the super soul, and perfection of the stage to vision of the super soul. Finally, Lord is concluding that out of this all yogis, the bhakti yoga is the highest. So in this way, first 6 chapter, in next 6 chapter, Kṛṣṇa will be speaking about the bhakti yoga, how we can perform the bhakti yoga. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad-gītā ki jai.